Hello girls, this is Priya Noel. So far your Mujiba ma'am was handling this paper, stock in commodities. So I'm going to handle for you all from the fourth chapter. Okay. Earlier I have sent a video concerning this chapter, all about what is a commodity and what are commodity markets. So far you have dealt in your syllabus all about stock markets. Okay, so in detail, the technicalities of dealing in stock exchanges and etc. So from fourth chapter, you're going to deal with something new, okay, or new concept called commodity markets. Okay, so we are also going to see just like how we saw in stock market, its dealings, its technicalities, okay, the various parties involved, and other kind of transactions. Okay, so we are also going to see in commodity markets as to how people deal in commodity markets, what exactly is a commodity market, and how they go about trading in a commodity market, and what are the technicalities of trading in a commodity market. So this is what we're going to see in detail in chapter 4 and chapter 5. Okay, so today I'm going to start off for you all chapter 4. Hope the video was of some help, made you all understand what exactly is commodity markets. So now to move on with the explanation for the chapter. So I'm going to do the meaning of what is a commodity, and then what is the meaning of commodity markets, and then we're also going to see the history of commodity markets for today. So firstly, what is a commodity? And now if at all asked for the meaning of what is a commodity, you can always write this answer which is given in here. Okay, so the meaning of commodity markets, sorry, meaning of commodity. The term commodity refers to anything that can be bought and sold. It is a raw material or primary agricultural product rather than manufactured products. Okay, so to simplify the definition, what do you call a commodity? A commodity can be anything that which you can buy and sell. Okay, but then it is concerning more of a raw material, okay, or a primary product rather than a finished product or manufactured product. So that is what is called as a commodity. Now there are two different types of commodities. Okay, so you call one commodity as soft commodity and the other one as hard commodity. So it's nothing to do with the physical touch and feel. Okay, it's not that commodities which are called as soft are soft to touch and feel and things like that. Rather, it takes a different meaning. Okay, so soft commodities are agricultural products and hard commodities are mined products. Alright, so examples of what are soft commodities. Now, any agricultural produce can be called as soft commodities, like for example, wheat, okay, cocoa, coffee, sugar, vegetables, fruits. Now, all this would be called as soft commodities. Then the examples of hard commodities. Hard commodities are nothing but mined products. Okay, meaning something which you would naturally acquire from your land, like metals like gold, silver, and then oil. So all this would be called as hard commodities. Okay, anything that which is mined. So this would be sufficient for 2 marks if at all asked what is a commodity. Alright, so next we'll move on to what is a commodity market. Alright, so commodity, now we know anything that which you can buy and sell, and primary products rather, uh, products which are not yet manufactured, or something which is raw, or something which is a primary agricultural product. Now what is a commodity market? Now the market is a place where buyers and sellers meet. Yeah, so coming to the meaning of what is a commodity market, commodity market is a place, is an exchange, it is a market that trades in primary economic sector rather than in manufactured products such as cocoa, fruits, vegetables. Yeah, you can also include livestock. So livestock like poultry. Okay, so all the animals that we eat as meat would be called as livestock. Other than that, metals. Okay, so different types of metals like platinum, gold, silver, and then oil. Oil includes petroleum. Okay, so diesel, all these kind of extracted things. So all these commodities, when dealt commonly in a place, you call it as a commodity market. In other words, commodity exchange or commodity market is where commodities and derivatives are traded. Okay, so most commodity markets across the world trade in agricultural products and other raw materials on contract basis. So these contracts include spot prices, forwards, futures, and options on futures. Okay, so I think you would have already heard of something called as derivatives, right? So I will teach you all in detail what is derivatives in commodity exchange. So far I think you at least have an idea as to what is derivatives. Derivatives is all about dealing in contracts, okay, in order to averse the risk or edge the risk, transfer the risk from one person to another, okay, and also reduce the risk. So this commodity exchange is a place where various commodities and derivative dealings like spot markets, price forward markets, futures, options, all these are traded. So this is what is called as a commodity exchange, okay, or commodity market. So when asked for 2 marks, you can always write this particular answer. So next we'll move on to the history of commodity markets. Okay, so here I have, this is from Apanaya textbook, and I have written down the highlights of the history of commodity markets. Sometimes it's asked in the examination, okay, to talk about the history of commodity markets. Okay, to start with, now a commodity market, even though it's not specified an exact date, okay, but it is told it is among different countries. Commodity trade has been prevailing among different countries, or rather it was organized or originated even before the voyages of Columbus and Vasco da Gama. Now, if you remember, the sea route which was found by Vasco da Gama to India was in the year 1498. So it is said even before sea routes to various parts of the world was found by these people, the commodity market existed. Okay, so you can imagine that it is way back, okay, even before these kind of voyages took place. And countries like India and China had trade contacts with Middle East countries and European countries in order to trade with different kinds of commodities. And also the advancement of shipping and other transport technologies enable the growth of commodity markets. And then in 1340s, the Black Death, killer plague, okay, killed almost 1/3 population of the Middle East and European countries. So which resulted in more of per capita income and increased the demand for products like precious stones, spices, ceramics, and silks from the eastern luxuries. That is, in the eastern countries, so this kind of a plague attacked people, and many people died, and there was a downfall in the economy. You can just take this present scenario like corona. Okay, so how trade and everything fell, but then the demand for the products, so this plague was something which was spread only in a particular place, like in the European countries and the Middle East. Okay, so the wealth of the European countries and the Middle East was more in demand now by other countries, and they were also wanting to sell it because of the economic downfall that they were facing. Okay, so products like precious stones, spices, ceramics, so silk, all this they wanted to sell, and which was luxury requirement for the eastern countries. All right. So this increased the trading of commodities across the countries. Then apart from that, this entire scenario resulted in increased reliance on Indian Ocean trade routes, okay, and thus the sea route to Asia also was discovered. And then later on in 1571, the city of Manila was found, which linked the trade between America, Asia, Africa, and Europe. Then, initially, the transport cost was too high, and so they only wanted to keep the transportation, or rather the trade, for precious stones and metals. Okay, so they were given more preference rather than other kinds of commodities. Then, to continue with the history, in the meanwhile, the Egyptians also dominated the commodity markets with the export of spices. So they were good at producing spices, and so they tried to export spices. See, one thing you will have to understand here, girls. So it's common in a trade policy that each country will enable the other country to satisfy their needs and wants by supplying those products, those commodities, that which they are very good at. Okay, so like how India is good for producing its agricultural products, so therefore they are more into exporting agricultural produces, which is most required in other countries. Like if you take for example in a country like Australia, production of paddy is something which is completely absent. Yeah, so that is when they depend on another country which is able to produce rice. So India produces paddy and supplies it to Australia, while Australia produces something which it is good at and supplies it to other countries. Did you understand? So therefore, countries dominated, okay, their own products by exporting them, okay, or producing those products which they were very good at. Other than that, China was good at producing silver, tea, and silk. So this made Asia the prime trader of spices, silk, silver, etc. Subsequently, investment in commodities also began. The investors started recognizing commodity investments as an alternative avenue. So far, investment in stock market only was prominent. Okay, so people, if at all investment they wanted to carry out, they were investing in stock market. So now they found that they can also invest in another avenue, and that avenue is nothing but commodities market. Okay, so subsequently the investment also began in commodity markets. People started finding commodity markets a better avenue to earn profits. Okay, then the next thing was the commodity exchange were more transparent, okay, in their transactions, and ensured better standards for the brokers and traders, which also facilitated risk management and hedging. So all these factors also enable the growth of your commodity markets. Okay, so they were more transparent, right? So they were more reliable, and their transactions also were of better standards. There are a lot of rules and regulations to follow, especially the brokers and traders who were dealing in the commodity market, which also facilitated risk management. Risk management is all about bringing in dealings like derivatives. Okay, so hedging is nothing but wherein they transfer the risk from one person to another person. So the one who does not want to take up the risk will transfer the risk to the one who wants to take up the risk, because the more the riskier, the more you earn profits. The less the riskier, the average will be your profits. And later in 19th century, various commodity exchanges were established, which paved way for effective transportation, financing, warehousing facilities, etc. So it is understood that when a commodity exchange was established, certain other businesses like transport business, financing business, warehousing business. So all these also, okay, flourished among with commodity exchanges. So this is how your commodity exchange slowly took its way back from or before the sea routes to various countries were found, and it has emerged in 19th century is when you found that it flourished all over the world. Now talking about the Indian scenario, okay, so despite a long history of the commodity markets, India is still in their initial stage of development. So I won't say that India has got a very well developed commodity market, but then they are still in their initial stages. Okay, so but we have also a commodity market which is started dealing in various types of commodities. So in fact, Indian government had once banned the commodity market dealings because of the exploitation in commodities, the dominance. Okay, so right after British's time, when your commodity markets were in existence, and more of Indian government's interference was there. So that was when your government intervened a lot, and they started to control the dealings in commodity markets, which led to a lot of complications, and then at one point of time a lot of exploitations, okay, on the traders, the dealers, the customers of the commodity exchange. So that's when government thought of bringing in a stoppage on this particular market, just to have some kind of reconstruction of the market and to start off afresh with more of rules, regulations, and bylaws. Then commodity markets also had a very huge potential in India because of agri-based economy. So we are very much aware that India is an agricultural sector. Okay, so our most important occupation or the dominant occupation in India is agriculture. We are known for our agricultural producers. So this agri-based economy made India, or rather given that potential for India to have an commodity trading in India. So that made government liberalize the rules and regulations with regards to commodity exchange. And not only that, they also came up with something called as FMC. Okay, nothing but Forward Market Commission, so which we are also going to see in detail. This is nothing but a regulatory organization, okay, so which is there prevalent in order to have a control over the dealings in commodity exchanges. Okay, so this was set up by the government so that there wouldn't be any kind of fraudulent activities or exploitations in the commodity exchange. And there were a lot of rules and regulations which were followed, which were made in order to be followed by your Forward Market Commission. So other than that, one more thing to specify is your Forward Market Commission is just like SEBI. Okay, just like how you have SEBI in order to regulate the activities of your stock market, like that your Forward Market Commission to regulate the activities of your commodity exchanges. And then proper clearing and settlement systems were also introduced. Warehousing facilities were also made more efficient. Okay, pricing mechanisms were also identified. So all this were also enabled by the Forward Market Commission, and thus commodity markets initiated, or rather had a good start again in India. And till date we are doing a good trading, okay, a well organized trading as far as commodity market is concerned. Yes, commodity markets are of great help not only for their participants but also the economy as a whole. They have also been contributing towards the GDP, the gross domestic products. Like I told you, agri-based products are something which is produced more, and 60% of the exports are agri-based. So therefore, they also contributed, okay, to the economic development of the country. So this is from the Indian scenario point of it. Okay, so this talks about the history of commodity exchange. Thank you.